What's the most satisfying way you've ever been proven right? 3 months after we moved into our new house, I woke up in the middle of the night to a scratching sound inside the walls. I shook my husband Oren awake and asked if he heard it. He told me I was dreaming and went back to sleep. A week later, I found sawdust on the floor near the baseboards and showed it to him. He laughed and said, "That's just dust. You're being paranoid." I asked him to please just call someone to check it out, and he said, "I'm not wasting $300 because you heard a noise." I let it go for a few months, but the sounds got louder and I started finding more sawdust in different rooms. I told Oren we needed to get the house inspected, and he slammed his hand on the counter and said, "There's nothing wrong with this house. I looked at every inch of it before we bought it. Are you calling me stupid?" I said I wasn't calling him anything, and I just wanted peace of mind. He said, "You want peace of mind? Stop making up problems that don't exist." The next week we had dinner with his parents, and his mom asked how we were settling into the new house. Before I could say anything, Oren laughed and said, "Great, except my wife thinks we have ghosts in the walls." His dad chuckled and said, "Ghosts, huh?" Oren said, "She hears scratching sounds and thinks the house is falling apart. I keep telling her she's imagining things." I tried to explain about the sawdust, but Oren cut me off and said, "See what I deal with? She finds a speck of dust and thinks the sky is falling." Everyone laughed, and I sat there with my face burning. A few months later, I found a hole in the baseboard in our bedroom, and I took a picture and showed it to Oren. He rolled his eyes and said, "You know what your problem is? You look for things to worry about. You're never happy unless you have something to complain about." I called an exterminator myself and scheduled an appointment for the following week. When Oren found out, he canceled it and screamed at me for 20 minutes about wasting money and going behind his back. He said, "If you ever do something like that again without asking me first, we're going to have a serious problem." I stopped bringing it up after that, but the sounds kept getting worse and I kept finding more damage. I found sawdust in the kitchen, in the living room, in the hallway near the back door that led to the deck. I took pictures of everything and kept them on my phone. When Oren announced he wanted to throw a housewarming party for 40 of our closest friends and family, I begged him to at least get the deck inspected first. He laughed in my face and said, "You're actually insane. You know that, right? Like clinically insane." I said I was serious and I was worried about the deck with that many people on it. He grabbed my phone and deleted all the pictures I had taken. Then he said, "If you embarrass me at this party with your crazy termite nonsense, I will never forgive you." The night of the party came and the house was packed. Oren had set up the bar on the deck, and there were at least 30 people out there drinking and laughing. I found him in the kitchen and quietly told him I really didn't think that many people should be on the deck at once. He smiled at me with pure contempt and said loudly enough for everyone nearby to hear, "Everyone, my wife thinks the deck is going to collapse. She's been hearing voices in the walls for 2 years." People laughed nervously. Oren said, "Termites. She thinks we have termites. I've told her 100 times there's nothing wrong, but she won't listen." His friend clapped him on the shoulder and said, "Women, am I right?" Oren grinned and said, "Watch this." He walked to the back door and shouted, "Everyone on the deck, I want to make a toast." More people flooded outside. I grabbed his arm and said, "Please don't do this." He yanked away and said, "Shut up and stop embarrassing me." Oren stepped onto the deck holding his drink in the air and started giving a speech about our beautiful new home. There were at least 40 people crowded out there now. I heard a creak, then a groan. I screamed for everyone to get off the deck. Oren turned to me with fury in his eyes and said, "What did I just tell you about? The deck collapsed." 40 people dropped 15 feet onto concrete and broken wood, screaming everywhere. I saw Oren on the ground with a beam across his legs and blood on his face. His mother had a bone sticking out of her arm. His friend who said, "Women, am I right?" wasn't moving at all. Sirens came 20 minutes later, and the paramedics said it was the worst structural failure they'd seen in years. An inspector came the next day and said the entire support system had been eaten through by termites. He said it was a miracle no one died. 14 people sued Oren personally after my lawyer showed them the text messages where I begged him to get an inspection and he refused. I got the house in the divorce and he got the debt.